Fore Players at Barstool Sports. We are back, and we have the final major of the year. The final major, we're going to have the largest gap between major championships now that we've had in 2 years, basically, because we just got hit with them nonstop due to the pandemic and the rescheduling. We're going to have a major championship for 9 months. But Collin Morikawa proved that he's probably the biggest stud upcoming in golf that I can think of. And it's, I mean, yeah, we just had Rahm dominate the U.S. Open and whatnot, but Morikawa, his speech afterwards, the fact that he got the Frankie bump, it's just hard not to be extremely high on Collin Morikawa.
Yeah, we had the conversation a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about it today, too, who we think is going to dominate the next 5 years of golf. And, of course, we don't remember who we said necessarily, but I think it was between Rahm, Collin, JT, bunch of different. Oh, Sung JM. You brought that up. He wasn't in the original question, but
he's going to be like in the military.
Depending on how he plays in the Olympics.
For him in the next couple months, he could be.
But and it's always recency bias with this type of stuff. But right now, just watching Collin Morikawa not make any mistakes, he seems impossible to beat in big tournaments.
Bogey-free round.
Yeah.
Bogey-free round. I think the last time he made a bogey was early in the Saturday round. We're recording right after they just finished up. So, again, this is all pretty fresh. But Collin Morikawa did it also among this era where everybody's talking about distance and Bryson. And if you just hit it so far, you can just dominate, and distance is the only thing that matters. It kind of takes over conversations about golf a lot. Should they change the entire equipment and all the evolution of equipment over the last 30 years because distance is too much? Collin Morikawa is not like a bomber of the ball at all. We saw him pull 3 woods all over the place today, or something a little bit less than driver, and just kind of craft it out there, keep it short of the bunkers, which is links golf, which is strategic because if you're in those things, you pretty much got to hit out sideways. I think it was Francesco Molinari who made like an 8 the other day because he just couldn't get out of a bunker. So it sort of forces you a little bit to be more strategic like that, and Morikawa proved that, that type of golf and being the best iron player on planet Earth, he could just pick apart that golf course. He putted really well at times, and ultimately that was the difference, which is amazing because it looked like he had it so much more together than Spieth, and yet a couple of those like big putts that he made just don't fall, and the two of them are in a playoff. Like it's that close, which we've hit on a million times, but yeah, Morikawa, man, it's recency bias, like Trent just said, because it happened 5 minutes ago. But it feels like that guy's going to win double digits majors. And we say that all the time, but it feels like that right now.
Well, I think T-Daddy called it, what was that, after Thursday round, where I think I came down to watch TV Friday morning, and you had heard Morikawa talk about hitting iron shots like it was porn. Like, he can hit through all these different windows. And so, I mean, you were just like, I just don't think there's any way that he's going to lose this golf tournament early.
Right. The way he talked about his irons at one of the pressers made me think he was going to win, and he did. Whenever you start talking about windows, that's when you are just playing a different game than everybody else.
Think about how small a window is.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and Tiger's talked about windows. Morikawa is now talking about windows all the time. If you can hit irons the way he hits irons,
certain windows are big.
Certain windows are big. I told you today.
To think about hitting a golf ball through it, even like the biggest window hitting
Floor-to-ceiling windows.
Hitting a golf ball through it from like 180 yards away. Think about how impressive that would be.
And what he was saying, he wasn't talking about
Yes.
actual large windows.
I can find you some windows that I can hit golf
What he was
balls.
saying, we'll find one and we'll give that a shot. That'd actually be pretty fun. But he's saying, like, when you play this type of golf across the pond, there's different ways to play, and you can hit it in all these different windows, and they have different results. And he feels so good with his irons that he thinks he can hit every single shot that he needs to hit, and he proved it this week. He is just so solid with the irons that he can do anything.
He's an assassin.
Yeah.
He's the James Bond of golf. He goes out there, calm and cool and collected, and he just murders you. He never lets off. He never gives you a second to breathe. You think that Jordan Spieth's going to make a run? Collin Morikawa hits a bomb birdie putt to just shove it in your face. He never stops. If you're behind him, chasing him, you're never going to catch him. That's the kind of golfer he is. And I fucking love that guy.
The up and downs were incredible. Like, he made up and down from everywhere, but then 14, he had kind of that cross ridge chip he had to make. It fell down the wrong side. He made a beautiful birdie putt on that hole. Like, he was incredible. And yeah, he has that like 9-window shot that Tiger would talk about. I was actually talking to Frankie about our round this weekend, which maybe we'll touch on a little bit. I think you had a 9-window miss going on where you could hit all 9 windows, just the wrong.
I was in like a glass window house. It could have went left, right, down, up.
Low left, low right, high left, high right.
Break them all.
Right.
So yeah, I think, again, it's so bizarre because when you step back and look at the way that he won, it feels like he was just always going to win and he dominated. He won by 2 shots, which is
Right.
nothing. Bless you, Frankie.
I held that one in.
Whoa.
I don't know if
Did
that
Did you
made
concuss
it.
yourself with that?
It felt like, did I hear your mouth clamp? Yeah.
Caught it.
Okay.
Don't hold those in, man. You'll have an aneurysm doing that.
Yeah, that was bad.
But he did. He had a few bounces where it was going kind of near bunkers that it didn't go in the bunkers, which is what it takes to win. And then he had the few up and downs on the long par 4 where he hit that one long left, and then the 9th hole as well, I think it was, where both of those up and downs where it looked like he was in the bad stuff over there, fescue, long, tall grass, and he just got up and down both times when you're thinking ooh, this could be a double, and then he still just kind of wins by 2. So it shows you how good the fields are. Jordan Spieth had the tied for, I believe, the lowest total strokes ever by a runner-up.
Really?
In an Open, which was ties Phil Mickelson in 2016 when he and Henrik Stenson had that duel.
And that, I think, speaks more to the weather than anything else. I mean,
probably.
It's just, you had a tweet, we talked about Lake Cabo. There was just supposed to be 25-mile-an-hour winds. I don't know if I saw a shirt ruffle all week. There just wasn't much to it.
It's pretty calm.
It was a stroll in the park.
It was.
It really was. You watch on TV. It was beautiful. Sun was shining. Guys were in T-shirts and long pants, and they just looked really comfortable. They're sweating.
The water was really calm.
The water
Every
was
time
calm.
they did the
No
wide
waves.
shot, no waves, no nothing.
My assessment of the golf course, I hate it.
Whoa.
I didn't like it. Those aerial shots where it's just one hole and it's on its own, and it's just not.
There was too much room for it.
It was bizarre how
The aerial shots
alone
stunk.
each hole looked.
Yeah,
each
that's
hole
on-
looked alone, which was weird. It felt like a course that you had to drive in a cart for 3 minutes before you got to each next tee.
tee box, yeah.
And I know it's not that, it's links golf, but when you look at links golf, you can fit the entire course of the old course in St. Andrews when they show you how much actual aerial ground it takes up. It's nothing. It's you can't even tell it's there. So that was, I thought, very surprising too.
Yeah.
It just didn't felt like nothing like the old course, which we all want every British Open venue to be as close to the old course.
Yeah, I think when you're picturing those tee boxes and just the way from that shot behind when they're on the tee box, looking out at the fairway, it just didn't feel like an Open. Really high fescue everywhere. If I was playing that course, I'd just be man, this isn't the experience I wanted. Obviously, the pop bunkers, the crazy undulations in the fairways is super open-y, but I don't know, man. Something about being on those tee boxes looking out, I just didn't get that feeling this week.
It almost looked like desert golf. Where it's
It
there was
just
nowhere to
looked
hit it. It's if you miss the
tight.
fairway, it's gone.
Yeah, it looked very tight.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to be down the middle. We could lose 1,000 golf balls there. I mean, with the vast open areas. But I don't know if I hated it, but it wasn't my favorite by any means. But I think the weather to me, it's just you need weather. You need them to see them taking crazy line left for the cross breeze to bring it right. And it just wasn't any of that.
Remember when Fitzpatrick was running down the fairway to go to the bathroom because it was raining and windy and he just wanted to get off? That's
trying
the
to
Open.
finish.
That's when the big man Lowry won.
Right.
You were talking about how big he is. You need to be sturdy, fat, large,
You
and
could
just
put a bowl of soup in the front of his
And
belly.
in charge.
He is.
Yeah, the weather was disappointing. That's what you root for. That's what you tune in for. Umbrellas sideways, flipped upside down. People grabbing rain jackets from people in the gallery, hacking out a rough, and then they're the sand blows back into their face. That's what the British Open is supposed to be. And instead, it was 75 and sunny the entire time with minimal wind. I mean, it's still 10, 15 miles an hour a decent amount of the time, a few gusts, but for the most part, every time you tuned in, it just wasn't. Obviously, nobody can control that. What you can control is Owen's mixers, which we love. We've loved for a very long time now. And it's how you make a great cocktail. You pour it in with your favorite liquor of choice, or it doesn't have to be your favorite liquor of choice. Pour it in with any liquor. I actually really don't care.
Anything.
But the transfusion mix, awesome. They got margarita mix, which is really good. And they got a handful of other ones as well that they've perfected that are very, very tasty. Mint cucumber and lime, one of my favorites. The grapefruit and lime. You can make a Paloma. So big thanks to Owen's Mixers. Amazon, boom, next day they'll just ship it right to your place. You can go to retail. You can check owensmixers.com and figure out retail-wise the closest store to you. So you can just go pick that shit up, put it in with your liquor, and bam, you got an awesome cocktail. So big thanks to Owen's Mixers. They're delicious, and they're getting in more and more golf courses across the country. We have our own Barstool Transfusion. It's really good. Owen's Mixers. Go get some.
The only person who maybe could have controlled the weather but opted not to is the head greenskeeper at the golf course, and that is
Paul Larson.
Paul Larson, a.k.a. Howard Stern of golf. If you guys are on Twitter, if you're on social media, if you're even watching the coverage, honestly, he was everywhere, especially during the practice rounds leading up to the event. This guy, the head greenskeeper, is a cartoon character. His hair's all over the place. He looks like, I don't know, Albert Einstein with like jet black hair. I've never seen anything like
like
it.
a young Albert Einstein. That's what
Yeah.
I picture Albert Einstein would look like in his 20s.
A mad scientist of the golf course. I've called him my white whale when it comes to behind the greens. I need to be with this guy as he walks the golf course. They were burning the insides of the pot bunkers. Everything about this
That was
place
cool.
looked really cool. I don't know that I can rest until I see this guy and interview him.
What do you think his background is? Where do you think he's from?
I picture him just like running around with like sheep in like a
Yeah.
Right, I
He's
think
a
he's
local
from.
boy.
I think he's right. That's
Yeah,
what
he's a
I
local
think he's
boy
from
that's
that
cared
town.
about grass his whole
Think
life.
so?
He's from
Yeah.
Sandwich.
Do you know that, or is that just
No,
okay.
gut call.
running around like he.
I
can
don't know that.
He's like the sheep whisperer, where like he walks out there and does this whistle, and they all like run in place, and they go to wherever sheep need to go.
Right. He might not use too many instruments. He's more of a field guy.
Oh, 100%.
When the weather's rolling
yeah.
in, like the next day, he might be
His
thinking.
hair starts to tingle.
Yeah, he's reading almanacs and predicting the next week rather than looking at the weather
He
channel.
definitely has almanac.
Yeah.
He goes into his apartment or attic or whatever, wherever he lives.
He has an attic.
And there's
He
almanacs.
might live in
up
the
there.
attic. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. Yeah, he's got almanacs. For
He's
sure.
not looking at radars.
Picture him to be
No.
living actually downstairs in like a cobble type basement, where like it's like a cobblestone stairwell and underneath a pub, and he has to light a fucking match on the little lantern as he walks into his room.
Turning
Yeah.
this guy into like a hobbit.
Yeah, I'm picturing Scrooge. Like, you know Scrooge?
Yep,
Ebenezer Scrooge I'm picturing, but just a more jolly, crazy type.
not a big internet user, I would imagine.
No.
Just
No way. Does he
Yeah.
have dreads? What hair is that? Is that dreads?
that's just long hair.
That's just hair that's gotten away from him.
Okay.
He has
Because, I mean,
Twitter
it
account.
holds its position pretty good.
He does have a Twitter
He's
account.
got a Twitter account,
All right, so I'm wrong about that.
Whoa.
which I found surprising.
Probably
as
the most
well.
modern like mansion of all time, like in the downtown city. Like,
Yeah.
he's
I
in
like our
London.
version better. I like our version way
He has
better.
like a penthouse in London. Like he private jets it in.
He's a London playboy.
Exactly.
doing everything.
Go look this guy up if you don't know what we're talking about. He's a character.
You got to see pictures of this guy. He's all time. Yeah. So the course, I agree with you, and it didn't really deliver. It didn't deliver a particularly entertaining or interesting British Open start to finish. Like, I thought it was cool. It got pretty nervy there at the end when Morikawa was making some putts in the last 10, 12 holes. And it'll be remembered forever how he was just locked down. He was solid. He wasn't going to let up his grip. Spieth made a little bit of a charge. Cool. But, like, it didn't deliver amazing moments that took your breath away or made you think like, oh, this is what this tournament's going to be remembered for. It just sort of like we just kind of got through the week of the British Open, it felt like, and that again is not really what you want. You want it to be either chaotic from a weather standpoint, or the course is super baked out, or you're at the old course at St. Andrews where like everything's just cool because you're in the old course, you're in the old town, which there will be there next year. So I was actually. I mean, that kind of snuck up on me, I feel like, that all of a sudden they're just going to be the Opens at St. Andrews next year, which is the the coolest place in the world of golf. So I'm excited. It'll be a big contrast from Royal St. George's, which is historic. But, again, for us, guys, that you're not there. I heard the town. Our buddy Links Gems hit me up and said the town sandwich is, like, amazing, that the people and all the staff and everybody around there are, like, his favorite people he's ever hung out with before. But just from an aesthetics as Americans looking at it, course didn't like blow us away.
Never a glowing review of the tournament. We're already looking forward to next year. We're already looking like the 150th at the old course. That's what we're most looking forward to.
Yeah, and the biggest takeaway is just that Collin Morikawa is a menace. And
He's a menace.
Not going anywhere.
He has a little of that Tiger blood in him. Like, it just, no mistakes.
None. Mistakes that he then recovers from in
Right.
a very mature and calculated way.
18, he steps off driver, walks back, resets himself, pipes one down the middle. It's like, not everybody's doing that. I mean,
No.
a really impressive
He had to
finish.
step off, and he played that whole smart.
Just
I think he had
poised.
like something a little bit short. He had like a 3-wood or a 5-wood or something like that.
Yeah.
And so he knew he couldn't get to like those bunkers, and then he took a step off and was just cool, calm, collected, hit the fairway, made sure there were no mistakes. And like you're saying, the maturity of when he did make mistakes, every one of those chips like went long. And he was like, he was just going to miss long and in the middle of the green. If he makes the putt coming back, great. And he did. He made
Right.
those putts. But, like, he wasn't trying to flirt with getting it with inside 6 inches and, like, dribble it over this knob and risk it rolling right back into the shit. It was, like, very mature, very smart golf. He was never in, like, any real bunkers or any real trouble today, except for those 2 instances where he kind of missed iron shots. And again, both times he just played to the smart side of the hole, made big putts when he needed to. He changed that grip, I think, like earlier this year, and he's been just putting, much, much better ever since. And then he was amazing in his speech afterwards. Sounded like we were saying, it's like he prepared a best man speech. But
the speech might have been more impressive than the tournament performance. Just the way he steps up and he does the thing that all mature people do, where he sort of says thank you and congratulates people outside of himself, and then does himself last.
Yeah.
Where he's looking at one guy over here, and then he's like, "Oh, the crowd was so good." He's thanking the RNA, and then finally, he's thanking his girlfriend. He's thanking his family who weren't over there with him, and
he got the crowd to sing "Happy Birthday" to like his coach,
his caddy,
his caddy.
It was his caddy's 39th birthday.
That was his caddy. That was his 39th birthday. So he's got the crowd singing his caddy's birthday. He started off by like focusing everybody's attention on the low amateur.
Yes.
And he's like,
It's insane.
You're going to really learn a lot from this, and I see such a bright future. And you're like, you're holding a fucking claret jug, dude.
You're
like,
24.
It's about you.
You're like 3 years older than that guy.
Right. At one point he goes, I was actually an amateur like 2 years ago, and so I get it. And you're just like, whoa.
But also, like, if someone had done that you felt wasn't deserving of, like, saying to someone, I see a really bright future in you, comes from a place of a guy who already feels extremely successful himself. And Collin Morikawa is that guy. Yeah. Like, nobody looks at him saying that being like, dude, why are you saying that? Like, focus on your own career. But he has that pedigree to the point where we all just assume that he's going to win 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 majors over the course of his career.
How about a few weeks ago he just sat down one-on-one with Frankie Bahle?
Crazy.
The Bahle bump.
Listening to him just talk, like, during
Entered the room by punching you in the arm. Right? Was that the first time you saw him with
No,
the
we were at the office, and I was waiting for him, and it was a hectic day because I was rushing in there to interview Collin Morikawa by myself, super nervous. And I'm in this long hallway that we have at Barstool HQ, and I'm talking to the guys in the production room. And I'm like, oh, what's up, guys? Like, how's your guys' Monday doing, whatever day it was? And then all of a sudden, someone had their head down and was punching me, like, oh, Frankie, how you doing, buddy? And I looked down, and I was like, Collin Morikawa. Literally said his name just out loud to himself. And that was it. That was like, that's the kind of guy he is. He's very, very mature. He makes you feel super relaxed and makes you feel like he's a normal person, even though he deserves all the nerves and all of like the tension around him, because he has that, and we've said it a million times, that tiger mentality where it's like, I'm going to be an assassin out here and I'm going to murder everything in sight. He never wavers.
Do you think he is, I don't want to say calculated because that seems like a weird word, but like when he goes to an interview like that with you at Barstool HQ, before he goes in, does he have someone being like, all right, you're going to have an interview with Frankie Bahle, you've been on this podcast before, and they sort of give him the rundown of what he's going to do and give them your name? Or is he the type of guy who remembers
100%
your name and remembers the podcast, knows what Barstool Sports is, like knows everything that's going on at all times? Which one do you think it is?
It couldn't have been a preparation thing. He had to have just known, because like, he saw me talking to someone and just ran up to me. It's like walking up to an old pal, being like, yo, what's up, buddy? I haven't seen you in forever. That's the kind of guy he is. He's also 24 years old.
Yeah.
24.
And like, no 24-year-olds are like need to be told like, this is who this is. This is when it comes to something like Barstool. I think he's dialed in onto everything.
It's also like if somebody comes and starts working at our company that's 24, I'm like, wow, they're pretty young.
Yeah.
He's winning major championships.
It's insane.
24.
Like, if we get like 24-year-old like intern, like, ooh, that person's fresh. That's young. You're
It's like they don't know
25.
anything.
Nothing.
You know what I mean? A 24-year-old kid you bring on, do whatever, work with, it's like they have so much to learn, and they're just kind of like glossy-eyed, like just hanging out with their buddies,
You're
and like
at 24,
barely coming to work.
You're still one of those like baby deer that like can't stand up,
Right.
Where their legs don't even work. They're
Right.
not strong enough. You're like
Right.
flopping around. That's how you are at 24.
He can step
and
off the
he's
tee box at
Collin
18.
Morikawa.
Yeah, I mean, I started working here at 22, almost 21, and Dave almost made me cry like my first week. I just didn't have it. I just didn't have a mature bone in my body to be able to handle any sort of pressure.
Yeah, I actually was 24 when I got hired at Barstool, and I wasn't a human being then.
We've got guys like Robbie Fox that have started working here at 18. Was he 17?
think he was
18?
How
18.
old
He
is
was
Robbie
18.
Fox?
22?
22.
I think
He's been working here
No,
for-
he just turned 23, I'm pretty
He's
sure.
been working for 5-6 years.
That's crazy.
And how about this?
Rhea?
With Collin Morikawa. He's played in 8 majors and he's won 2 of them.
Yeah.
2 full years of majors. If you divide it by 4, right? There's 4 every year. He's won once a year, basically.
He's won
That's right.
25% of the majors he's participated in. That's a high clip.
Taking away overall golf rankings or in world golf rankings, whatever we're going to follow to say who's the best golfer in the world, who do you think right now is the best golfer on planet Earth?
John Rahm.
Yeah, I know your answer. That's your answer.
That was going to be my answer.
Yeah, because the world golf rankings are weird, right? Because DJ didn't play last week or 2 weeks ago, and Rahm did play in the Scottish Open, finishing 7th, I think. And if he had finished 6th or higher, he would have stayed number 1, but he finished 7th. DJ didn't play, and now DJ is number 1. Like that's such a strange system. It's better to do it the way that Frankie's saying. It's just like, who does it feel like
test.
who does it feel like is the number 1 player? And I think it probably
He's
is
relentless.
John
Yeah,
Rahm.
I would say the way I kind of look at it, which is like the world ranking system is one thing. It's who's been the best over the last year or two. Fine. The way that I look at it is like who's the best player in the world in your opinion would be if they randomly picked a golf course from the 40 courses they play this year, and then they just had a 4-round stroke play tournament next week at that randomly picked golf course. Who would you most likely think is going to win?
Odds-on favorite's got to be John Rahm.
And I think it's just John Rahm. I just think that's the answer.
I mean, one of the easiest sportsbooks app bets of mine of this past week was he had a bad Thursday. T20 finish was -110. Just lob some money on that responsibly. But
Automatic.
to think that he's not going to claw back and be a top 20 guy was...
Not only does he claw back, but at one point he's
Right.
like 10 under and the leader's at 14. You're like, at some point, this guy may just squeak in a win.
He couldn't make one putt.
No.
Early on was miss.
And he only
on
lost by
short range.
4 to
I know.
Morikawa. He was right there. Like Frank said, he had a couple more putts went in, and Morikawa stumbles a little bit. He just wins that golf tournament. He finished 11 under,
Yeah.
made nothing today. It felt
Right.
And these are putts that he legitimately is dropping the club, has his hands on his knees, his hat comes off. Like, he can't believe he's missing these putts. They're putts that have to go in.
Right.
They're almost automatic putts for a guy like Collin Morikawa, and he missed multiple of them.
I think, when you factor in and the distance and on any given course, I think that I would have to go John Rahm. But, I mean, Morikawa at this point, he's going to elevate. He was 4th in the world. What's he going to be now? 3rd probably in the world? Somewhere around there going in. So, from the official world ranking standpoint, he's right there. He won. Harding Park was not a necessarily plot it around type of place. Like, everybody's talking about how you kind of got to bomb it out there. Morikawa won the PGA Championship there, and then he just won, the Open Championship in pretty convincing fashion, where he was unflappable and just didn't make any mistakes. So,
Spieth is up there too. Spieth has been playing so well. In this conversation that we're having about who it feels like could win any given tournament, Spieth is right there. I mean, think about having this conversation 365 days ago, or
he was 82nd in the world.
He went 65, 67, 69, 66 at the Open.
Who's this?
Jordan Spieth.
Yeah,
and he lost.
And he lost by 2.
And he very easily could have won that tournament today if Collin Morikawa had given away shots anywhere. But I mean, he's just been playing really great golf, and it's honestly just nice.
Real
to see.
quick, just to get back to John Rahm, you want to talk about how Collin Morikawa is an assassin, doesn't make mistakes, goes out there, doesn't let anyone jump on him. Since Friday, Morikawa went 64, 68, 66.
Yep.
John Rahm, 64, 68, 66.
Same.
Played the
Just
exact
Thursday
same
hurt him.
golf since Friday, but he lost by 4 strokes on Thursday with a 71 to Collin Morikawa 67. You're telling me right now John Rahm played the exact same golf as the assassin that we just said does not make mistakes, Collin Morikawa, since Friday? I mean, think about how much has happened in our lives since Friday, and he just played the same exact golf.
Well, that always
The other
goes.
thing-
That goes back to the conversation that we always have, where just razor thin.
Razor.
Everything is
I know.
that, and they had the same rounds. That's how razor thin it is. Just a couple shots on Thursday, and
And what were those shots? Like
know.
anyway.
I know.
what are those shots?
I was also Collin, Spieth, Rahm, all shot 66 today. Just
Yeah.
like it. I mean, it's such a story within the story. It's
What are you
really
supposed
amazing.
to do?
Everybody,
Right.
nobody picked up any ground. Nobody lost any ground today. Everybody went out there and just shot 66.
Well, the only one who lost ground was that loser Louis Oosthuizen.
Who kept making ground on your
God,
wallet.
Barstool Sports, one of the most fun bets you can possibly have in all sports is betting on the Barstool Sports app responsibly on a player to win a hole, to have a
fun.
better score than their opponent that they're playing with. It's better in the Masters because you can watch every single shot. You can get feature groups. You can go amen corner, the whole thing. You'll always see these stretches of golf. When you're watching it on the main coverage, it's a little bit more difficult.
And the Open app is just...
And the Open app is one of the worst apps of all time. They have a great Instagram. The European Tour has a great Instagram and content. They got to fix the app.
The app's a problem.
It's almost like they put too much money into the content. They did not put enough money into the infrastructure.
App sucks. Here's a fun stat for you for your guy Louis Oosthuizen, Justin Ray, who just never misses. With his T3 finish, Louis Oosthuizen has now been in third place or better after 11 consecutive major championship rounds played.
Can we get Mike Francesa saying Oosthuizen right now?
Louis Oosthuizen's now 7 under.
That is the longest such streak since Tiger Woods did it for 12 straight in the year 2000. So the last 11 major championship rounds that have been played in the world on planet Earth, Louis Oosthuizen has now been in third place or better after 11 consecutive.
God damn. We went on Morikawa against Louis Oosthuizen, and what fucking hole was that?
Almost made an ace from 214 yards.
I think it was
11 from 255 yards. 53. The guy rips a driving iron at the pin. It hits the meat of the stick and almost just falls in. Should have fell in. It had a little bit too much pace from 253 yards away. And the guy just murdered us. It was 11. It was 14. It was 16. He spread them out to the point where, like, you took a hole off, and then you're like, all right, we're jumping back on Morikawa, and then he dagger you.
First 10 holes of the day, 0 birdies, 2 bogeys. You guys start betting on him, and he went birdie on a 253-yard par 3. Birdied the 14th. Those were his only 2 birdies of the day.
And the 14th was devastating, too.
Devastating.
Because he hit it in the left rough, chipped out, had what we don't know the distance, but a long iron in, stuffed it to an inch and a half, and then the salt in the wound, because once he did that, it was you knew you lost the bet. Morikawa makes it to make
would have made everybody go crazy.
Yeah, and it was just worthless.
Right.
It was just salt in the wound.
But going forward, I'll never stop doing those bets.
So
major
fun.
Tournaments, because they are
So fun.
electric.
Yeah, the sports book, man, it's just so much fun. Being in Michigan, a place where you can do it, is incredibly fun. I decided to jump on Spieth after round 1 when he was 5 under, and I had a good amount of money left over from when we were in Pennsylvania.
Would have been
for
a big winner.
And I also had him top 5, which I won, but overall it would have like netted out $10,000 in total, which would have been. I mean, I've never had anything close to that gambling. I did have Rahm top 5, which at the beginning of the week he was plus 188 to be top 5, and I was like, you know, that seems like a good deal. And he ended up like after the first round, like you say, he's 1 over, whatever he was. He ends up jumping right in there and finishing 3rd. So that was good. But it is very, very fun to just have a piece in the action, and it makes golf viewing. Yeah, I know people like to get into the matchups a little bit more sometimes. We were doing the whole, hole by hole challenges today, which is fun. Just the potential payout on picking somebody and then having them be even close makes it so much fun watching.
Yeah.
Like you're living and dying on every shot.
It is fun too, like the different majors or whatever venues that you want to bet on, right? Like this is the Open, and it seems that they have different viewpoints or locations where they have their cranes and their camera guys. Like today we were betting these holes to win, and like a guy will hit a drive and they have this crane from a mile away trying to track this ball, and you're like, give me that Augusta, like I need every tracer. So it is funny, like you're kind of grinding almost like the players are at the Open to try and see, is this hitting a fairway? Do we have the upper hand off the tee? You're waiting until that ball drops and they zoom in to see if it's in a divot. It's a grind, and it's so much fun.
And that also speaks to how like spread out the courses too, because you can't just have 18 towers.
No.
So they're like, what would be in a normal course only a hole away, they end up being like 5 holes away, it feels like. So you're squinting trying to see where the ball is going to land. And yeah, I mean, it's like I said Morikawa's like, he's just no way he's going to lose this tournament. He was minus 400. And then Riggs like tough talked me, and he was like, take the bet then if you think it's going to take it. So I ended up putting a little bit on that for just a worthless payout. But it's fun. I mean, certainly, as we all talk about, like the delta of Spieth to Morikawa is just a half stroke a day.
Yeah.
So when we take bets of like Morikawa is going to beat Usti on 1 hole, I mean, it's so cutthroat because they're just so similar that it's a very fun way to go about
really fun.
And then every time that you responsibly bet that they're just going to tie the hole, then they just don't.
Right.
Nope.
It's like a 3-stroke difference on that hole.
Right.
What is happening in this game right now? Not all work collaboration tools are created equal. Some only allow you to organize information, while others only allow for project management. Look, we've all been together now for 5-6 straight days.
Yeah.
Work management, collaboration, not the easiest thing in the world, as everybody knows, especially when you're working together all the time. There's high stakes. It's work. It's your life. It's your career, whatever. You can build a wiki, take notes, push projects forward all in one place. We're talking about our good friends at Notion. Notion is an all-in-one team collaboration software that combines note-taking, document sharing, wikis, project management, and much, much, much more into one simple, easy-to-use tool. It's the one place where every team from engineering to sales can work together seamlessly with 500 integrated apps, including Google and Slack. So all that's just aggregated into one. They just make it really, really easy for teams to work together, which is important. Saves you time. It's more efficient, and you just don't want to be annoyed all the time. Plus, Notion has a worldwide community of millions of users creating templates, tutorials, and new inspiration, so the product is getting better all the time. Notion is currently running a special offer to listeners of the Foreplay podcast. You go to notion.com. Notion.so. Is that a thing?
.co. SCO?
It says SO.
Whoa. That's new.
Is that a real thing? Look at that.
So
Notion.so and use promo code Foreplay, which is one word, to get $250 off the annual team plan. That's multiple months free for your growing team. Don't forget, that's Notion.so. Enter promo code Foreplay during checkout.
I think .com is a certain internet, and they have their own internet now.
Well, that used to be, and then it was like .ca. There was like different, right? Exactly, but
there's on a new line.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's exactly what I think. They're on their own new internet thing.
Wow.
I don't know what that is.
Oof.
Like, what's that mean?
We can really break down the internet in this room.
No.
Get collaborating with $250 off at Notion.so and use promo code Foreplay. You can get $250 off the annual team plan. You go to Notion.so. All right. Bryson De Chambeau. Where to begin? Well, he said his driver sucks after he had a shitty round in the first round. And then the Cobra rep came back at him. Ben Showman said it's like dealing with his 8-year-old. And then he said, everybody is bending over backwards. We've got multiple guys in research and development who are CADing, computer-aided design, this and CADing that, trying to get this and that into the pipeline faster. And Bryson knows it. It's just really, really painful when he says something that stupid.
Yikes.
I also picture him saying that because we've all read the quote. I picture him saying that with just a really deep sigh as he speaks, just like exhausted.
Yeah.
You know, like he's just letting out breath as he says those words.
Right, people are just pushing
like
back
talking
away
to
from
my
the camera
8-year-old.
screen with Bryson. Just like,
well,
nope.
Right, because Bryson doesn't seem to have too many friends right now.
Mm-hmm.
He just broke up with his caddy. There's just the internet is kind of not his friend right now. The last thing he needs to be doing is going after his sponsors.
No.
Like he does. They're on his side because they're paying him.
Right.
They're paying him a lot of money.
Tons.
A lot.
And
so for him to start going after those people, he's really burning every conceivable bridge.
Right. He's going to start saying like that Bentley, his sponsor, is like not a good car. Drives like a Honda.
Like, this car sucks.
Right. Just people are just moving away from Bryson. And whether Brooks had thought about it or not prior to like the conversation, I mean, we need to have a bet on the Barstool Sports book that's like even money that Brooks uses a Cobra driver this year.
Well, he had made the comments the next day, which were obviously pre-planned and calculated, but I don't think he's going to end up using a Cobra driver. But he is going to continue to publicly twist the knife on Bryson.
That's the best
because he
Brooks
makes
that
it
there
so
is.
easy.
Yeah.
Bryson makes it way too easy.
Oof.
That's the version of Brooks that I think we all really like. Is the it's not even really that subtle, but without directly even attacking Bryson, just they're talking through his round. And he goes, yeah, where he shot like 65 or whatever. So yeah, drove it great today. Love my driver. Just right in the middle of his conversation. That's perfect. He doesn't even have to address anything.
Right.
Even Collin Morikawa got it. Collin Morikawa got in on it. He was just like, "Oh yeah, I love my driver. I love TaylorMade. It's great." And he smiled afterwards.
Did you see what Justin Thomas said?
Yeah, amazing what Justin Thomas said.
He wrote on Instagram, "Never would have thought swinging at 135 plus miles per hour, it'd be hard to drive it straight. You'd think Mr. Physics would know that."
Woo!
Oh,
with laughing emoji.
Pip plan.
He put that on like Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
I missed that too.
It's just easy.
The Pip is real and it's working.
I do
Is that
get a
Pip
little.
or is that guys just hating
See, I
Bryson?
get a little annoyed at everyone just saying Pip every time anybody says anything. It's like people
Clearly.
could just be people and like think.
You're
and
very-
talk and make
You're
Right.
very annoyed right now.
That's infuriating to me. It's
I also
like
can't hear Pip because that's what we used to call my penis when I
Right.
was younger.
No,
But-
and we had this conversation originally too because I kept doing that and it was annoying
Is your
to
pip
I'm sure
hurt?
the people on this podcast where it's like, is it pip related? Is it not?
Why are
If
you
you
holding
start
your
doing
pip?
that every single time, it's like maybe these guys are just people and they like to make fun of the guy who's being a crybaby every single time they put a microphone in front of
Right,
his
and
face.
there's no real compare because like Bryson is being so much like he's being more like a crybaby like than any person else before.
well, maybe,
And-
maybe that's part of the pip too.
But like no, but but no.
I'm believing. Fuck this podcast.
People have internalized their thoughts more than this year for sure. Like they're definitely sharing more about their thoughts publicly this year.
But here's what people have to realize: the Pip was in place last year. We just didn't know about it till this year. So everything that was like said and done the second half of last year, it was already in place.
Also,
They
I
just
don't-
didn't make it public until this year.
Were the payouts though for it last year as well?
Everything was like that's
The same?
what it was. It just
Sure.
didn't get revealed this year until this year that it was that it was going on. But the players were all alerted, and it was a thing that was instituted last year.
I also don't know that like comments by Justin Thomas like that like qualify for the Pip.
No, but
You know,
that's
it's-
strong.
It is, but like, do they want like negative stuff like when they're deciding on
Well, we had said at the beginning of all this that there is that they put it in there like
clause.
the clause, the negativity clause, where it's like we only want positive. You got
Yeah.
to take that out of there because
you
we want
have
negativity.
to? So that's what I mean. At the end of the day, they get to kind of choose like what they decide on what is eligible for the Pip.
And I think the
stats.
way it's
I think
weighted, like social media stuff, is like 10%. So
Yeah.
it's
But it gets his name up there in like the SEO searches
Right.
more because he's in part of the articles and stuff. So I think it
we're
definitely
gonna start to
helps.
come around on it.
Everybody seems to be coming around.
No, you're right, and I do think, and I think what we're all sort of saying is Bryson is such a crybaby and makes it so easy to make fun of that these guys can't help themselves.
Yeah, agreed. And that's what I think it is. And look, when we've had issues with Bryson in the past, when we had him on about the pace of play and things like that, like we heard on the side from players, and you realize that like it is very, very frustrating, I'm sure, for many of them, or not even just frustrating, just they're probably annoyed by the fact that there's one person out there who just thinks he's doing it differently and like no one else has ever thought of. And I imagine that, again, them as people, this is their career, this is the people that they're with every week that they travel with, that they're probably like, fuck this guy to some degree.
Totally.
Just
Right.
he thinks he's like better or different, or that he's some scientific mathematical genius. And oh yeah, guess what? When you swing really hard, the fucking ball's more likely to go sideways, dude. Like that's pretty simple.
Right, and
Anytime you do something new, I mean, like Dave Portnoy.
Yeah,
you know what
true.
I mean? Like he comes into this whole new market. People hate on him, bring him down. Like Bryson's trying to do that. Different, obviously, but like he's gonna get hate. And now with Bryson failing, and JT's comment I think is actually the most perfect one in the world. Like, oh, you're swinging at an outrageous speed. You think it's gonna be like more difficult to hit it straight? Like, yeah.
well,
we
and
can
when
figure that out.
and when it's working, it's harder to chirp, right? Like after
Definitely.
Winged Foot, people are like, "Fuck, he might have like figured this
Rory
shit out."
changed his swing.
Right. But then as it starts to appear like it's not going to work, you're not going to win every single tournament with it, and then you start crying about everything, people are going to be like, all right, now it's time to make fun
Dude,
of
he's
this
using
guy.
a 5-degree driver.
It's crazy.
5.
That's insane.
It's a putter. What's
Right.
the loft on a putter? 3 degrees.
3 to 4, I
Yeah.
think, usually. So he's using the putter. He's using a putter, hitting it 350 yards. What is that?
Can't attack your sponsors.
You just can't say this driver sucks.
Especially when you got a guy like whatever that guy's name is, and he's going to call you an 8-year-old.
Yeah, what you
Ben
said he was
Showman.
a rep. Is that his official title? He's just
Wasn't it the
No,
guy
he's
that-
like high up.
okay.
Didn't
Okay.
he caddy for Bryson? Like
He was the
last
guy
week?
2 weeks ago at
2
the
weeks ago.
match that they did in Montana. He caddied for Bryson.
Oh wow!
No way.
Oh my god! People are literally.
Dude,
like,
the article I
moving
read
out
was
of camera
like,
screen.
it was, I think it was like Golf Week. I can't remember who wrote it, but it was like Ben Showman wakes in Michigan to breakfast and then turns on the TV and sees Bryson, says his driver sucks. And it was like, it painted him as just like this normal poor person, not poor person, but like poor guy who's got this tight relationship with Bryson, who's just whatever. But yeah, his quote, what he likened it to an 8-year. He said, that the American was like, quote, an 8-year-old that gets mad at you, unquote.
Ooh,
That's a guy who's fed up.
fed up.
Imagine having to deal with this guy every single time his swing changes in miles per hour. He wants to go a degree lower, and then he's probably a lunatic trying to figure out the perfect percentages and statistics and analytics when it comes to this piece of freaking metal that they're just like, dude, we've been doing this for everyone else, and it's been going well. Like, you're trying to change the recipe for success, and, like, we're out on it. Like, I mean, this guy's got to be out on it.
Dude, he talked in the article, too, about how they'll, like, you know, the research and development team, they got like 10 people that are working on all these new prototypes, and then they'll, because he's not using anything that anybody uses. Nobody uses what he uses, Bryson. And so then they'll like send it out to him, and then Bryson will get him, and then literally the day that he gets him, he's already requested changes to the pass requests that he had, and then they're like in the lab, and then they're trying to get him out to him, and he's testing them, and then for him to, through all of that, then just be like at the British Open when he's getting pressed for all kinds of stuff to be like, this driver sucks. Matt, they must be fucking rattled at Cobra.
I think that what this leads to eventually is Bryson building his own clubs. He's going to set up a shop. He's going to say, I don't want any sponsors anymore. I'm just going to build my own clubs. That's the only way he's going to be happy.
Yeah, but he'd have to do
He's
it
gonna fire
legitimately
himself.
Like, he'd have to make the materials.
He's going to have a
Because
shop built at his house where he can
Right.
manufacture the golf clubs that he uses.
Dude, because right now it's like he's standing over these people's shoulders being like, again. And
Right.
He takes one swing and he's just like, wrong. Like, it doesn't feel right. And they're just sweating and bleeding.
Couldn't you see that though? Him buffering out like new clubs, all that stuff, just by himself, because he is crazy enough to do that.
Right. I mean, he's committed to it, certainly.
Right.
So
that
like,
might be a better word.
there's no lack of effort on his side by any means. He's trying to do something new, but like, as his caddy, as like, people were just exhausted by him.
So our guy Eamon Lynch, give him a shout again. His article on the piece in Golf Week, he wrote, Bryson De Chambeau keeps losing his cool. Who will be the adult in his room? Which I think is spot on.
Yeah, it could be him.
He just has all yes people, and no one like tells him clearly in his crew, no, or hey, you're acting like an asshole or a douchebag. It's just surrounded by yes people who do whatever he wants and treat him probably like God. I'm sure they're like getting paid, and that's the way they've chosen to do it. Good for them. But like, the guy needs an adult in the room at some point.
This guy needs to come on the podcast.
And like,
He needs a hostile environment to be able to answer the hard questions.
well, Cobra, like, think about how committed they are. Like, they're not, premier club by any means, but you got
Smaller
Bryson,
company, yeah.
right? And they hitch their wagon to Bryson. He's a long hitter. Like, that could take them so far in the market, etc. To have the point where now they're like just exhausted by him, and just there's probably a real conversation in the Cobra room of, do we get out of this and just go down another path? And think about that, because Bryson is the guy that is potentially could bring them to, hey, we have the longest hitter in the game, we have X, we have Y, doing it with Cobra, and they're probably having a very real conversation to say, we're good.
Yeah, I mean, their guy won the U.S. Open less than a year ago.
I know. And now where they are.
And now they're, Ben's waking up in breakfast in Michigan being like, what the fuck did he just say? What the hell's going on here? It's amazing. I feel bad.
PR surrounding Bryson is so bad though that people might, like, if they don't want to use Cobra because Bryson uses Cobra. It's like a sponsorship that goes the opposite way.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, they drop and people be like, I'm buying Cobras now.
Right.
It's kind of the Patrick Reed we talked about. He should charge companies for reverse sponsorship.
Keep wearing their clothes.
Right.
They get so mad. And
Yeah.
just say,
Like, try to get out of it.
I'm actually talked to our G4 team and be like, dude, you guys should pay him to wear for like FootJoy.
Right.
And then like FootJoy's like, God damn it. Like, what do we?
It's a hell of a way to make a buck.
Get him on the Skechers. Then he's over there with Kutcher on the
just sends
Skechers
like-
train.
It's like basically paying for a negative
Right, so
ad.
you pay him. So all right, Patrick, you can't wear our shoes for 2 years. It's a 2-year deal, and then when it comes back around again, he wears those shoes again. They got to re-up. They got to get him off their shoe again. It's not a forever deal. It's legitimately just like a normal deal, but the opposite.
He sends Adidas just a selfie of him at their side of the store in like the PGA Superstore, and he's just like, "I'm about to check out with this brand new."
That's how he starts a bidding war that
Right.
way.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of a
Send it in
rotating
a-
selfie of all the brands behind him, and he just rotates. And which one's it going to be? Which one's it going to
Need
be?
new shoes.
Yep. I really like this
Genius,
color.
dude. And he just ran his like Instagram account like that. Like
If he was
Bryson
like
did that.
super like fucked up about it, like he's like holding it like, oh, I really like this fabric.
Man, these are
Ooh,
nice.
this one feels real
These
good
shirts
on
are
me.
really nice.
I think I'm
They're
gonna
like,
take
all right,
this, maybe
2 million. 2 million. Put it down.
You know, maybe I'll get a belt too.
Nike's in for 4, so I don't know. Nike doesn't want
If
me
you
near
guys don't
those
give me
shirts.
10, I'm gonna get the hat to finish it off.
Patrick Reed, reverse sponsorships. I think he would make a lot of money doing
Yeah, I
that.
think P. Reed and Bryson are potentially entering reverse sponsorship.
100%.
Because with a normal athlete, you get one sponsor and you can wear their stuff and nobody else pays you money, clearly. His, again, it's all the opposite. So a bunch of guys, you're getting money from every company
Everybody.
to not wear your stuff.
It's honestly genius.
It's just good business.
Yeah, it's a good model. Become the bad guy, become the heel, and then charge everyone to not represent their stuff.
Boom.
Bam. Life is full of stressors. It doesn't matter who you are or what you have. Life is probably stressful, and this is true. It's a very important message. You may not be feeling down and out and depressed or like you're at a total loss, but if your stress is high, your temper is shorter than usual, or even if you're starting to feel strained in any of your relationships, you could potentially be in a situation where you really need to unload the stress and get it out. Talk to someone who's completely unbiased about your life. We're talking about BetterHelp, and mental health is incredibly important. It's become, fortunately, I think, people become much more aware
It's on the forefront.
about it, on the forefront.
Yeah.
Over the last 5-10 years, as they should be, but there's still much more we can do. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you do not want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours from right now. Unload the stressors and get some unbiased feedback. You'd be pretty surprised at what you might gain from it. Lots and lots of people have gained a lot from it, whether, again, it's relationships can drag you down. It can be work. It could be travel. It could be anything. And everyone is susceptible to it. Everybody understands it. But BetterHelp can help you a lot. See if it's for you. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and our listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/4. That's BetterHelp.com/4. You get 10% off. Can't recommend it enough. It's important. Make sure that mentally you are as healthy as you can be. Talk to people. This is the best way to do it. BetterHelp.com/4. You get 10% off. All right.
There's a sign behind you that says, danger. Do not change the thermostat setting. Do not leave the door open. Extreme heat may result.
I think that's what's resulting.
I'm hot right now.
Oh, it's hot.
We're at an abandoned ski resort.
Yeah.
Have we told the people where we are right now?
They know we're in Michigan, I think.
Yeah.
Northern Michigan.
Shout out to Crosley.
Yep.
Yes.
Whoa.
So
Bahle Farms.
what happened was we went to Bahle Farms, which started from a lot of the listeners and followers on social. We kind of said we had a day where we weren't sure where we're going to play. We need somewhere. We'd love to do like a hidden gem. We'd love to do a spot, right? We do these resorts. We've gone to Pinehurst, which is amazing. We've gone to like Cascada and Wolf Creek and Sand Hollow and Rio Seco out in the Vegas area, which again is amazing, but they're a little more higher end. It's like destinations. We're like, we want to hit a spot while we're up in northern Michigan, while we're in the Traverse City area, that is more like what we all grew up playing, where like the common man, the common woman, the common golfer goes and plays. Good value, really cool track. What's a hidden gem? And people recommended Bahle Farms, and it turns out that they, Crosley, and I believe, was it Melissa? Was that his girlfriend's
Yes.
name? They reached out to me and just said, hey, we're like 24, and we just bought this golf course. I know that sounds insane, but it would mean the world to us if you guys came to Bahle Farms and like played our course. We'd love to have you. We're done.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're the nicest people on planet Earth. Chris, who was our guy that was finding all the golf balls, the hound.
Mm-hmm. Basset Hound. I was
mean,
calling him Bassett.
He just found every golf ball. But long
Boy, did he
story
have
short,
to get to work too. They found a lot of them.
they've got
Frankie
this
put him to work.
course that they just took over the ownership like a month ago. And then they've got they've got a condo within 20 minutes away. They got like a lake house, and they basically just changed our entire last 2 days by being the most hospitable people in the world, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we actually really haven't talked about any of the good luck that we've had, because the last podcast we did, we were just getting to Forest Dunes. And first of all, Forest Dunes,
Awesome.
one of my favorite
Yeah.
places I've ever been to in my life. I will be back. I will be doing a buddies trip there. That's how good of a place this is. You guys will all see this. We'll probably talk about it at length at some point, maybe when the series comes out or something. But Forest Dunes, phenomenal. The people there, phenomenal. But anyway, we had nowhere to stay.
Well, we stayed on property the first night.
Yes,
at a place called the Warbler, and it was fantastic.
Yes.
It was this house right on the lake, beautiful, right on the golf course. It takes 2 minutes to get to the loop or the dunes, wherever you're playing. And we only were able to stay there one night because we're idiots. And we booked this so late that it was only open for one night. And then the original plan was to stay there one night and then the next few nights stay where? Gaylord.
Which is 45 to an hour away.
Yeah.
Gaylord.
Producer Jake's favorite town.
Maybe an hour and a half away from.
It's far.
Far. Might as well be 10 hours away. It's just far.
And after staying in the Warbler the first night, knowing that we then had to go to like some hotel an hour and a half down the road, we started making comments when we would go to dinners with everybody being like, we're not leaving.
We're not going to go. We told Tyler, who was one of the guys there at Forest Dunes. At one point, he was sitting across from us at the bar at dinner, and I was just like, "Yo, dude, like, I'm not leaving tonight." And he like gave me a laugh where he wanted a laugh in return, and I stone faced him across the bar, and I said, "I'm not leaving."
Right. It was one of those
I'm
things
not
where you say, and
fucking
everybody, Frankie's like, "Yeah, so we're not leaving. I know you probably have other people scheduled to be there tomorrow night." But we're going to just be squatters and we're going to stay there. Everybody's like, ha, 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 that's great. And then you kept saying it, and it got less funny to them each time.
And Tyler's in charge of, like, guest experience.
Right.
That's his job.
Yes.
And he's like, no, like, that's
We've
going
been
to
booked,
fuck up
like,
the
we're
whole
booked,
thing.
completely.
So, yeah.
So then what happened?
Well, then we...
Well, the reason why we wanted to stay so bad is because
Right.
we were coming back the next 2 days because we had 2 more things to do. And also, we were out there late night playing like glow-in-the-dark par 3 golf with shoes off and beers in our hand. And it was a resort-type experience. It's a resort. It's an absolute golf oasis.
I would say for our crew, this has been the most fun trip we've ever
100%,
had.
not even close.
I mean,
I've
it's
been
been
everywhere.
so much fun.
Before that, though, we were in Gaylord for the first night. Then we were over there, and we were all having Maganudo cigars out on the deck.
Yes.
And that's really when it started. We all looked around. We're like,
We ain't fucking leaving.
we're not going back to Gaylord because we just escaped jail.
Yes.
And so we're on this deck overlooking the lake getting ready for this trip. And that's where the I'm not leaving joke
Yes.
kicked into play. And then when we got out, glow in the dark balls, the whole thing. And then Frankie gave him the stone face.
Couldn't leave.
At the bar
Right.
where
I'm not
Tents were
leaving.
discussed.
It's not that I'm not leaving. I can't leave.
Dude,
Yeah.
tents were discussed.
Yes.
You wanted to just tent.
I was fine with that. Riggs and I were going to get an attendant.
kind of brought up the
Brad.
idea.
I'm out on tents.
I guess I am more of a hotel room guy, so I wouldn't have gone through with that.
So
I
what
was just
did
kind
we
of-
end up settling
What
on?
ended up happening
Settling
was
on.
we're at this
Quote, unquote.
bar, the Bootlegger Bar at Forest Dunes, which is where we recorded the last podcast, and it's right at the start of the par 3 course, the 10-hole par 3 course. You start there and finish at this bar. We're out there having a late meal. It's 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. Chad, who's the head pro up there, he's with us. We've got Tyler, we got Lowe, we got the whole squad. Noah, everybody's out there. We got a whole group of people, and we start, like you said, putting pressure on him. I'm like, it's gonna, it's gonna be weird when we just don't leave. And then somebody threw out the idea of, because we were talking about who we know, Matt Ginello. We know, we've had him on this show. He's a good buddy of mine. He's one of the best people in the world of golf, and he knows travel and golf destination better than anyone probably in the world. And he had done a podcast on the Fire Pit Collective, which is really good, like an in-depth podcast about Forest Dunes. And this guy, Lou Thompson, who's the original owner and kind of built it, and he very recently sold Forest Dunes, but he still has a house that overlooks the 18th hole on Forest Dunes, biggest house on property, and he's there not very often. So they were like, by the way, Lou's house is just empty, and it's got room for 1 million people. So you actually maybe, Riggs, we didn't realize you really knew Matt. You maybe call Matt Ginella, and he might be able to call Lou and see if he can get you in that house. And I was like, done. We had a handful of Trulies at that point. It's like, oh, that's not a problem. Called and talked to Matty G, had a great conversation. He's like, I'm going to hit Lou up the next morning. We get to the first hole of the loop, the black course. So we're playing it in reverse order this time. We're on the first green, and everyone's we had to pack up that morning and put everything in the car. We don't know if we have to drive the 4 hours back to Gaylord. We're just like,
The idea
not
was we
sure.
were going back to Gaylord,
And
to
I got,
producer Jake's favorite place on earth.
right. And then I got a text message that just said, You guys are in. I talked to Lou. Here's the garage code. He's got golf carts in there that you guys can use. And the entire trip changed from that point on.
100%, man. We're staying on the biggest house on property, right there by the 18th hole on the Forest Dunes golf course. It is a phenomenal estate. We're driving carts from the bootlegger bar down the 8th hole of Forest Dunes, up the 9th hole of Forest Dunes, onto this road, back to our house. We have all of our own rooms. I had a bath. I took a bath. I blew a fuse.
Killed all the power.
You
in
had
my
too
room.
much jet power hitting that body.
Listen, I saw this bathtub. It was a jacuzzi. It had a whole thing going on, all the jets. I was living, man. We had Macanudos. We were drinking Trulies. We got the whole thing. I'm sitting in there. I fired those jets up harder than a jet's ever been fired up inside a jacuzzi.
Yeah.
And I'm
Was
sitting
your
in
little
there.
body bouncing around
I'm
in the
sitting
jets?
in there, and I'm just like relaxing, and everything's working, and all of a sudden she goes doom, and just stops. And a minute or two goes by, and the jets obviously are not going anymore, and I'm just sitting there looking down at myself floating around.
At your pip.
I'm looking at my pip, just like it's almost just like I don't know. It's almost like a electric eel or something.
Oh,
Just kind of
God.
just like
Yeah, no, it floats up in
just
bath
like
water.
it just goes up almost like a buoy, you know. And I'm like,
Your
this
body's
is,
the anchor.
I'm like, this has become weird. I'm now naked, staring at
Ooh, that's
myself,
weird.
kind of just floating around, and I just got into the shower and I erased that from my memory as fast as I could.
Is that when T Daddy's power went out for the weekend, or did you never have power?
No,
No,
I
I
blew
didn't.
it.
I showered in the dark.
There, I don't know.
That
why.
That was weird.
What the fuck?
You guys
I
did.
thought-
Got him. Sorry.
Yeah, why
I
are you
showered in the
high-fiving
dark.
that?
Just
That's
because
nice.
I showered in the dark 2
jetted
days in a row.
I jetted my dick off
Just
so
fun.
hard that his lights blew out.
Yeah, and you know what?
Trent's
Honestly,
sitting there doing whatever he's doing, and all of a sudden he's in the darkness. I'm sitting in there like, oh,
and quite
yeah.
and you know what? I'll take that 'cause I feel like I partially deserved it because what we didn't say about the Warbler originally is you and I shared a room and I snored so loud
Oh,
that you
boy.
only got 2 hours of sleep. So if you're going to knock my power out because you got the jets on and you're trying to relax because you finally have a room to yourself that's, you know, you don't have a grizzly bear sleeping next to you, I'm okay with you knocking my power out. But outside of that, outside of showering in the dark for 2 days, Lou's place was
Fantastic.
so great, and it wasn't a hotel in Gaylord. It was a mansion on the golf course, and it like you said, Riggs, it changed the whole trip.
Changed everything. The whole dichotomy of the trip, the future, the outlook. It's just when you have a however many hour drive looming the whole day.
4 to 5, yeah.
Oh, it just ruins in that area. It ruins just the whole mindset. It's like we're not even on a trip. We're on like a day trip. It's almost like a chore. Like we're doing a chore all day. Whereas then it was like you hunker down, you post up, you squat, you have a bed to go back to. People could come and go as they pleased. We had like a nice fire pit in the backyard. So a big thanks to Matt Janella for kind of making that phone call. Big thanks to Lou for obviously letting us stay in his home, and then the Forest Dunes crew for having us. It just was a blast. It was as much fun as people that like what we like can have.
Yeah, we don't have to get so deep into the golf courses and stuff, but the Loop is the most unique, fun golf course I think I've ever played in my life, and I think we say that about a lot of different things, like that I've ever done, I've ever seen, I've ever played, and then this is like legitimately set in stone. I don't know if I'll play another course like the Loop. I mean, it was, especially where it is, like the fact that it's only a 2-hour flight from New York City, you feel like you went to another part of the world. And it's an 18-hole golf course, and then all of a sudden the next day you play it backwards, and you don't even know where you're at. You didn't see those bunkers now facing you the day before when you were driving over them. Somehow they're now facing you, and it's just its own golf course. It is, and for all shapes and sizes, for all skill levels, for all types of people that want to go play golf. You don't lose balls off the tee as much. The ball runs forever. It's almost like a traditional open golf course where like it's just hard, fast, firm, fun. The greens are crazy, but they're also, if you're playing well, they're very fair. Just the coolest golf course ever. And then the Dunes is like a top like 200. What was it?
Yeah.
Top 150 course in the country.
Quickly though, on the Loop, I gotta think that idea, that creation of golf course, extends itself now into like East Coast, because certainly on like a limited piece of land, if you can make more golf holes by just adding tee boxes and playing in reverse, if you can make that happen, like I got to think that gets adopted by more courses, because it truly did feel like basically you play this track, clockwise and then counterclockwise.
Yeah.
There's different tee boxes, different greens. The 9 and the 18th green are the same. Everything else is different. And I just think on limited land, if you can basically double your golf course, double the field with the same amount of land, like you just do that, and it's a no-brainer, and like members get behind that.
Just so cool for the resort.
Right.
The fact that if you're staying on property, you play the red and then you play the black the next day.
Right.
You just played the same exact layout,
Land.
completely different golf course.
Right. And it feels different.
And the tee boxes,
Completely
there's no
different.
tee boxes. They have these little flags on the fairway, so everything is essentially just the same fairway from the tee box to the front of the green. It's just so unique, so cool. My stomach's rumbling right now. I don't know if you just heard that.
Can't be because you're hungry, because we just
We
crushed
just crushed food out here.
huge sandwiches.
But yeah, Forest Dunes, I cannot recommend it anymore. And then, so I don't know if you guys want to talk a little bit more about Forest Dunes, but we got to get into what happened with our luck as the week progressed, where we are right now.
Oh, yeah, that's where we started. We started
Yeah,
with
that's what I
we
mean.
started at Bahle
It's a
Farms.
progression of luck.
Yeah.
Progression of luck, because like you said, we could at Forest Dunes we had that until Saturday morning.
Yep.
And then we just had one night left over on Saturday night where we were going to go to Bahle Farms. We
Which is pretty far. It was what, an hour and a half drive from Forest Dunes?
At
I think
least
closer to 2.
2-hour drive
Yeah.
from Forest
2-hour
Dunes.
drive.
We drove
Maybe
past
4,
Traverse
I
City,
don't
where
know.
we're going to be flying out of today.
Literally driving right through it and past it, and then we were going to play Bahle Farms, film all day, drive all the way back across Traverse City to Gaylord, which
Jake's favorite
The
town.
worst town in America. Nothing against Gaylord or the people that live there.
it just sucks.
It's just nothing going on in
Well,
there.
it's just not. We came here to play golf, and it's just not close to any of the golf courses,
Right.
which I would say is the biggest
It
knock.
wasn't
of the
close to
town.
anything we were trying to do.
Right.
People at the hotels were nice, so I don't mean to say that it sucked, but it's
No.
fine.
Nah.
For us.
And also, we seem to have come to Traverse City in northern Michigan during maybe the busiest time in the town's history.
Because you hear that it is on
like
the
like a-
biggest weekend at Disney.
What is
It's
there, like
crazy.
a strawberry festival or something?
Even
cherries.
in Gaylord, there was a
Cherry
big festival in Gaylord. So,
Right.
like, it's just.
All
I
the
was-
hotels are booked solid, and we got a big crew.
If
So
you're
it's
going to
hard to
visit
find.
the Mitten, now is peak season. I mean, it's perfect summer. It's
Yeah.
Weather
Gorgeous
was
weather.
perfect. The whole time we were here, the weather was
Is
perfect.
the whole state of Michigan considered the Mitten?
No,
or
I think it's just.
our area.
I think just the. I
The
think really
northern
where your
part.
fingers
Okay,
are. Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I like that nickname.
Palm is not part of it, but we're
Okay.
up in the fingers of the Mitten.
So
Yeah.
we finally get to Bahle Farms, knowing that once we're done with this, we're going to have one of the worst nights of travel. Back to Gaylord, back to Traverse City in the morning. We have to find a place to watch the Open, to do this podcast. It was a nightmare going up to the first tee at Bahle.
And
We
then
we said going to the course that our one goal of the round is to find other lodging.
Well, we said we were just going to tell Jake we are lodging here, even though we all looked on our own apps and it was all unavailable and sold out. We said we will be lodging here tonight.
somewhere we're lodging
Somewhere.
up in here in this general vicinity. We're just going to be lodging, and then we get there, and Crosley and their crew are incredibly friendly, and they're like, "Oh yeah, what's your guys' plan?" We're like, "Oh, we got to drive back to Gaylord, the worst place in the world tonight, after we play golf, and then we got to drive all the way back to Traverse City, but we're going to play, we're going to have a good time." And then after 9 holes, we're getting burgers, which they took care of. Thank you to that, and which were phenomenal.
Really good
Phenomenal.
spot.
Food
Good
at
hot dog
peppers.
was
the food
snappy.
at the halfway house was really good, or just at the clubhouse. And he says, "Hey, by the way, we actually have a condo that sleeps comfortably, like probably 9 people. That's like 20 minutes from here, and it's right next to the beach." And we were just like, "What did you say to us out loud?" And he's like, "Yeah, you can. Nobody's there. It's at like an old abandoned ski resort, but the condo's good and sleeps tons of people." And we were like, we just hugged him.
We did.
We did.
I mean,
He saved us from Gaylord, and this is the second golf course we went to where they saved us from
Gaylord.
this horrific town.
And I tried to say to you that you didn't necessarily accept. That's the Midwest.
It apparently is. Like, I've never been offered up somebody's abode
Yeah.
so easily and so just nonchalantly. Where it's
so
like,
easily as
just
well.
like, here you go, dude. You want to stay there? Like, we've got towels and they're drying right now for you guys to take showers, and we got TVs and beds and everything's been made, and they came in and they cleaned the place up before. It's just like, what?
And on top of that, before you guys go to that condo, how about you come to our lake house? We'll have a cookout. We'll have a fire.
On the beach.
We'll have drinks. It's on the beach.
on Lake Michigan
We'll play this new cool game that they came up with.
called
Sinkhole.
Sinkhole, which first of all, we've been and I actually said this to the people that were at the property. They're friends. It was a very nice night out. We made a fire.
Gosh.
We smoked
One of the
cigars.
best.
One of the best views I've ever gotten.
That'll be a
Northern
top
Michigan.
5 night of the year for me.
Probably a top
That
5
was
night of my
crazy.
life. to
I
be
agree with
honest.
that.
That was amazing.
Sincerely, that was great.
Especially, it was just like the fact that it all happened so fast and so easily.
Right.
It made it that much better. But anyway, we're on this beach and you're looking out, and maybe one of the best sunsets I've ever seen, which I didn't know you could get this. In
You get a
northern
West Coast
Michigan.
sunset on the lake because you see it through the horizon. It just falls into the water.
There was a sailboat going across where like that orange sun just dips on the water. A sailboat just went right across it like a painting. Phenomenal.
Is it the
stuff.
Manitou Islands? Is that the?
There's these 2 islands. It makes it look like Monterey Peninsula, but
It
no
does.
crashing Pacific Ocean. It's like this calm.
You love the gentle aspect of it.
I love the lake.
You've said so many
you
times
said something very
the
surprising to me
crashing
where you
waves.
said you'd much rather end up living on a lake than an ocean.
If I had to choose my ideal mansion house with a beach backyard, like the house that we went to last night, I would rather choose, and this is like excluding the golf and like the way of life and all that stuff.
Sure.
If you're just telling me what view do I want and what lifestyle do I want, I'm picking that house on Lake Michigan with that view 1,000 times out of 1,000 over like some chaotic, ridiculous on the cliffs, ocean crashing. It just seems like a little bit more stressful, even though it's really a beautiful area like Monterey Peninsula. This was serene. It was serenity.
Yeah, I agree with that. The lake is so peaceful.
The beach at that lake, there's no seaweed.
I could be a dum-dum, but what is serene?
Serene.
Surreal or serene?
Serene is
like
just
sort of calm.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very serene.
I mean, you went in for a dip. It must have been a delight. I
That
only
was
stuck
serene.
my little toes in there, but it was cold.
Any body of water, Lurch just pop in the top and go.
Is that one of the best bodies of water you've ever swam in?
Oof, had to be up there.
How clean was it?
Incredibly
So-
clean. So there's like
so
a
clean that he
tiny.
didn't shower when we got back to the condo.
Yeah, what's that about a lake shower?
Hold on, did I shower last night?
Nope.
No, you said
No.
You said I took a
Yeah.
shower in the lake.
You said I
Yeah,
took a
good lake shower. The water was that clean, man. It
Yeah.
was.
It doesn't have soap in it.
I would say
No.
I was maybe 50, 60 yards out, but you're still only like 8 feet deep, and you could see the bottom clearly.
It's a lake.
That's
dude.
amazing.
No, I know, but not
That's what I
every.
mean, it's perfect.
Usually, clear lakes have, for whatever reason, rocks along the outside. That is like usually a very clear lake for whatever reason. Sandy beach lakes I've never seen with this type of clarity. But yeah, it was. I mean, it was gorgeous, and I always put on the hard sales pitch of like, "Who's coming in with me?" Like I looked at T Daddy.
Jake went in with you.
He certainly did. I think that was the first smile out of Jake that I got. Oh, there's a little
As good of a trip
smirk.
as we
We've
could
said
have.
his name probably 10 times trying to get a smile. He hasn't even looked up.
He's
I mean,
acting
now
like-
he's stubborn. He refuses.
He's
to
acting
look.
like he's ignoring us, although he's wearing headphones that our
Right.
voices are going directly into his head.
It is fun. We play a little game just to get a rise out of Jake, and we have hundreds of thousands of people that have to listen to that. But
So we got this fire going. We're eating food. We brought over a bunch of prosciutto. We stopped at the market. We got prosciutto. We got.
We
Deviled
lost
eggs.
Frankie in the grocery store.
Yeah.
Lurch and I were
Pound
walking around grabbing Skittles and deviled
Don't
eggs.
laugh at that.
And just children were shopping through.
Just
And
coated sugar.
At some point, I don't remember when, Frankie wandered off, and we went and we found him buying a large portion of prosciutto.
I got a pound of prosciutto de Parma, and we got a little bit of brie. We got the little chips that were going to go with it. It was a fantastic evening, and we're playing this game called Sinkhole,
Sinkhole.
where the people out the beach, how do you say his
Crosley.
name? Crosley.
And
I don't want
Melissa.
to call them the people at the beach. It's Crosley and Melissa.
Yeah.
They are the gracious hosts that had us there at their beach house. And essentially they said that they were at a beach one night and they brought cornhole bags. And they didn't or it was too windy or something happened. They didn't have bags, but they had this soft softball, basically slow pitch softball, but the soft version, right? Mm-hmm. And it's the one that you played like in middle school with because it wouldn't hurt someone if it hit you. Mm-hmm. And they basically played a combination of beer die and cornhole. And it is the most fun game of all time. You have a beer in your hand. You can only catch it. Well, you can only catch the ball with one hand, just like beer die. And you basically play it like beer die with cornhole sets. So you're throwing this ball, and the ball barely fits in the hole. So if you get it in the hole, it's a game winner. If you hit it off the edge and it falls down onto the sand, it's a point for your team, just like beer die. If you hit the edge of the circle and it hits the ground, which you always know if it hits the edge of the circle because it changes direction, that's 2 points. And if you hit the edge of the circle and you catch it, it's 1 point. Really fun game. We had the time of our lives playing out there.
addicting game.
It's
You should wanna
addicting.
play it nonstop.
I think everyone should adopt this game. I think we should sell it if we're being honest. I mean,
That's what I said to you.
It's
It's like
a
we should sell this
fantastic game. The fact that it's just 2 games mixed together, who cares?
Also, I don't know if I've ever picked up like a soft softball like that.
It's going to be hard to find those. We got to find those.
It
We have
was-
them in like middle school gyms.
and
Come up with something. We'll just make them.
The other
Yeah.
thing that was
We're gonna make this
outrageously comforting is that our view, because we were standing at the beach
So much
looking
better
at the
than yours.
sunset.
Dude, so the second
was a
game,
cheat code.
The second game that me and Chris played, we were on your guys' side originally, and he looked at me and goes, "Can you believe this fucking view?" the whole time?"
Dude, that's what I meant about
What
the
were we
Monterey
looking at?
Peninsula. It was an island that like drifted into the ocean in the background. I felt like I was in Maui.
It honestly looks like Hawaii.
Yeah.
That's what that scene looks
Dude,
like.
once
with
we
those.
went over there, it felt like our view. The previous game, we were looking into like industrial New Jersey. That's what
Yeah.
it felt like. And then we looked over here. This is delightful. It was just, and the game's fun because you catch it most of the time, so you feel like you're good at it. Keeps you moving.
It's also got that ounce of frustration because it's so hard to get the ball in the hole that it keeps you committed to trying to do that. And it's great because like that, if you make it in the hole, it's just a win. The game's over. And it is really, really hard to do.
Fantastic game. So shout out to them. And now we're in his condo and we're doing the podcast. We watched the Open and it's been an absolutely great day. Great experience. Great week.
They say golf is a mental game, so why wouldn't you want to give yourself every advantage you can? TeaZa Performance Energy Pouches will get you dialed in while providing healthy nutrients and penetrating flavor. TeaZa nutrients pouches provide oral stimulation. We've done penetration and oral stimulation here.
What's happening right now?
It's Foreplay podcast.
Foreplay.
Yeah, that is what we're doing. They have 7 flavors, delicious flavors, and 14 different product options. And the highlights include no tobacco, no nicotine, no calories, no spitting, no mess, best tasting tobacco alternative, fresh breath and cuts craving for snacks, oral tobacco, cigarettes, sodas, mints, and gum. Drinking with a TeaZa in your mouth is even better as it takes the flavor and overall product experience to another level. Try a flavored seltzer with a cherry or mango TeaZa or a TeaZa-tini. TeaZa-tini. It's a martini, but it's a TeaZa-tini.
Mm-hmm.
A martini with a mango habanero TeaZa pouch. Long and straight off the tee, pin-seeking irons, and center cup putts. Very nice. Try TeaZa Performance Energy Pouches. New customers can use code Barstool30 for 30% off. That's a great discount, 30% off. New customers use code Barstool30, capital BARSTOOL 30 for 30% off their initial purchase at TeaZaEnergy.com. That's TeaZaEnergy.com, Barstool30 for 30% off.
Lurch can't stop ripping farts.
Lurch
No.
farted.
Oh,
Did that one leak at you? This is crazy.
I'm
This
sorry.
This guy's
twice. That's 2. That's 2.
You just-
in the day.
rip farts in people's faces.
Oh, dude.
It's hot in
The way-
here. I'm
Oh,
sitting
speaking
next
of-
to you.
Dude, I
Speaking of-
apologize.
Very selfish.
I know. I'm sorry.
Speaking of
Sorry.
update, Riggs.
Yeah, how's your asshole?
I would say it's I'm feeling significantly more comfortable and optimistic about it than I was the last time we did the show. which
Have you
was-
gone to the bathroom in the last week?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's been
Because-
totally fine.
When we did the show, what was that, Tuesday show? I don't even know what day it is. Or Thursday show. It was bad.
Well, that was also within minutes of the first reveal that I had a bloody situation occur.
Yes. You soiled
and,
your shorts.
And I panicked and was like, if this is just going to bleed, I'm not going to be able to play golf. We just got here. This trip's ruined. It turns out I think that was actually an outlier in that result. Now, it's still a little bit here and there, but I've been given advice by a lot of folks, thank you, of drink water and consume a lot of fiber. So you guys noticed I was eating like fruit at times and just different things with fiber so that try to control the situation and the stool and all that. But people were hitting me up like, you have hemorrhoids, I'm convinced it's just a slight tear, and some people said it could be from just using toilet paper too aggressively.
Yep.
Which is very,
be.
very possible. Who knows?
Also,
Hey,
traveling
hey,
man, you
hey,
use all
calm
different
down.
types of toilet paper.
All kinds of different
So,
stuff. Right.
and sometimes when you go to, Gaylord and these towns, you don't have the finest toilet paper.
Yeah, and who knows? So I'm 100% convinced that because I don't want to get too graphic again, but nothing is actually, no blood whatsoever is in my stool at all.
Everything but before butts bullshit.
Excuse me?
I said everything before butts bullshit. I don't want to get too graphic, but
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
nothing is coming out of my stool whatsoever. And it's not, again, in any given moment, it's not a pain whatsoever. It's just when I'm, cleaning the situation, I think that cut can get irritated based on, like, sitting a certain way. Somebody told me, like, whenever you're going to the restroom, going number 2, don't take a long time because that makes blood rush to just the general area.
Got it.
And so, like, I've been just doing the minimum. Not the minimum. I've been trying to just do general improvement ideas to...
Don't bring the phone in the bathroom is rule 1, I would say.
Well, that's just one example. Was like I can just get in, get out quickly. But just the way that I've been sitting, even like in the cart most of the trip, was like instead of sitting with like everything spread wide open, I think that's bad for it. So try to keep it kind of closed. And I've been mostly fine, I would say.
I'd also like to say, and no spoilers, because just watch the Travel Series when it comes out in the future. Played pretty fucking well.
Yeah,
this was my best week of golf for sure.
You did,
like
for sure.
We thought it was going to go the opposite way. We thought you were going to be so uncomfortable you couldn't even sit when we did the last podcast, and then we were going to have to go play a bunch of golf. We were sitting in carts. Instead, it went the opposite way, and you just played great.
Yeah,
true.
And I think maybe part of that is like a mental relief where like my expectations had gotten so low.
Yeah.
In that my comfort level that once I actually wasn't that uncomfortable. That I was so happy and just kind of like, wow, this is like lucky. Okay.
I was so happy.
So happy my asshole isn't bleeding.
That it worked out. That it worked out great. But yeah, I think overall we're going to be okay. I just have to continue to do kind of preventative measures for making it worse. And it's a sensitive area. It takes a little bit of while to heal. That's what they say.
Okay.
All right.
Happy to hear it.
Happy to hear it.
Who knows? It could go south. No pun intended.
Be pretty rude to say you're not happy to hear that news.
Yeah. No. Glad for your butt.
Yeah, everybody out there just applaud Riggs.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody should go through that.
Stop farting down there. At least while we're all here.
Yeah, no, 2 and I'm done. I'm done.
Tighten it up.
A couple other things on my notes here. Morikawa's first 50 PGA Tour events as a pro. He's got 5 wins, 2 majors, 4 major top 10s, $14 million in career earnings. He's only played in 8 majors. Tyrrell Hatton flipped off the fans and then broke a club in the same round. Very funny.
Yep.
Very funny.
Had to like that.
Classic Tyrrell,
who I called him Tyrell the first time, and he just called me out on it big time. The stars. I have to talk about the stars that are in the sky at Forest Dunes.
Crazy.
One night, because again we were doing the glow ball thing. Which the glow ball? What was that company's called?
Night
Eagle.
Speaking of stars, though, I
Night
think
Eagle.
quickly, I think there was 3 balls in a row at one point on the green, and Frankie goes, "Oh man, it looks like the Big Dipper," and I said, "You mean
that's
Orion's belt?" Do you remember that?
No, I think I said something even worse, which it takes a big man to admit this, but we were driving up. I said, "Oh, those look like the Northern Lights."
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
It was just 3 balls perfectly in a row. But yeah, the stars.
Nope.
When you get away from the city, when you
fly
get
fishing was like you're in an airplane and you like
You're in a helicopter.
you shoot
No,
fish
that's not
out of
true.
the side of the
I
plane.
thought it was. I thought fly fishing was those fish that
Flying
fly
fish.
into your
into the boat.
Into the
boat.
net,
When
or
you
the
know when
boat.
you're riding through those
that's
crazy
right. Yeah.
rivers and they fucking are flying all over the place. I thought that was fly fishing.
What a sport that would be.
I mean, there is something that there's a name for whatever that is, and it should be fly fishing.
That's fair.
Boat fishing.
Okay,
Stars,
It's
I
a
don't-
dumb name.
I don't.
Fish fly into your boat.
Right, so it's got to be a blend of those two
All
things.
right, boat fly fishing.
Yes.
Boat fly fishing. So we were doing the night golf at the Bootlegger with a bunch of the staff. We had like 10 people, 12 people, and they pull out the glow balls or every time. And then at one point, someone was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, like look up." And we never that. I'm telling you, as people that have lived in cities basically the whole time we've been doing this podcast, where you don't see shit because of pollution, I had been a long time. So you could see billions of stars. You could see the Milky Way, the hue of the Milky Way, and man, in
Literally
Northern
see the
Michigan-
hue of
Right.
the stars.
It
It's so
was
cool.
There were so many stars you could
phenomenal.
see this faint, just bright light of all billions of stars
Right.
behind the ones that you could see. Like you could feel like you could touch the stars that were right in front of you.
There's so little light pollution around here that the last night people were saying the moon was too bright. I mean,
Yes.
so like that's the only thing dumbing down how many stars you can see is the moon. I mean, in New York City or around the area, you see the sun and that's it. You're happy
We
about
could see
that.
Saturn. It was just because Avery pulled out his phone.
Oh,
He had
that's
that
right.
app, and we were like, "What is that bright ass star, and he looked up. It was just Saturn.
We
So
could see
cool.
like Jupiter, we could see Saturn,
Yeah.
we could see, and I know people that probably live in remote places or like more rural places are probably just like, yeah, that's just what nighttime looks like. But again, being in big cities where for the last 15 years for me and most of for everybody else, it's like you just never ever really get to see that. And especially like even if you're in a pretty remote place, like a lot of times you have lights on and you just can't see it, and you wouldn't think to like go outside. And so we did. We kind of went out into the middle of the first fairway on the bootlegger and just looked at the stars for about 15 minutes, and it was mesmerizing. So the stars up here are phenomenal.
Speaking of star guy, at Cabot, Riggs got so mesmerized by the stars one night, he just laid down in the fairway and looked up. So big
Just
time,
slept in the fairway.
big time
Remember,
star
you guys
guy.
found me
Right.
asleep.
I heard the music going out there, and I went out there and woke you up.
Brought my phone out. I was listening to a little country music and just looking at the stars.
Somebody sent me a video about how astronomers think the galaxy will end eventually.
Oh boy!
I'm talking the entire
Here
galaxy.
comes darkness.
Well, no, it's just fucking. So this video is basically a time lapse of what they predict will happen. And at one point, there will be nothing left, which
But
is kind of a crazy.
Right, but we're not
thought.
there yet. So
No, it was like 1,000, which it was funny. At one point, they went to 1,000 at a point because it just kept getting bigger. It was like 1,000 years, million years, billion years, trillion years, trillion years, and then it was like 1,000 trillion years from now. And it was basically all these things that happen, all these things engulf each other. The lights die. All of the stars die. They cannot build off of each other. So then the lights just go out at one point. And then from that darkness builds something else where like it encapsulates all of the surroundings, and then that thing dies. And then it's just nothing. They call it like the big rip.
Nobody knows that
They
shit.
don't know that shit.
no.
And
They call it, it has a name though.
It's amazing you can relax ever with
The
these
big
thoughts
rip.
running through your head.
and you got like 60 years left.
Right. No, I don't care. It's just the idea
right,
that
which is-
everything would just be nothing.
We're talking trillions.
Why
of
do
years.
I have to do anything?
That so many things are going to change in that time that you don't even know. But you just got to worry about the next 60.
It's amazing how fast you can do a scratch on the record player and bring things to a totally different
Like
dark feeling.
if at one point there is nothing, why am I doing anything?
That's Jared Carabas. Jared Carabas
Yeah.
says
Well, then
that.
why don't
Sun's
you just
gonna
die
explode.
today then? If you don't enjoy living tomorrow.
Oh, I do enjoy living. I'm
So
just
then
saying
what are we
there's
even
a
talking
thought-
about?
There's a thought that's just like nothing matters.
But that goes two ways. The other way to look at it is like, this is it.
Yeah.
Let's make it cool and fun.
Right.
Cool.
If you got 20 days to live, are you just going to call
Stop
it?
sending me these videos.
Yeah, stop sending Frankie like black hole videos, because then we'll
Now
be.
you're just gonna get
We had
tagged
this
in a
exact
billion.
conversation just in our cart out at Bahle Farms. We were just plodding along, and he goes, "I watched this video where everything ends." I was like, "Okay,
Oh no.
let's talk."
Welcome
about
to
it.
Saturday.
Yeah,
Oh no.
yeah.
Oh, that-
Bottom line, Michigan's awesome.
It is. I'm so glad we came up here.
Me too.
And look, if any one of us went through our DMs right now or emails, like there's dozens of courses that we didn't get to that everyone's recommending. Arcadia being kind of the obvious one that we did not get to. And I do want to again reiterate that like the Arcadia thing wasn't like a negative. It wasn't like an FU. It was very clearly they were like, we'll approve it. We want you guys to come film, but it needs to be for us. We really want you to capture the whole thing. Stay on site, breakfast, dinner with the sun setting, the bagpipes, film both courses, and we were like, we're coming in 2 weeks. All their lodging was full. Their tee sheet was pretty much full, and they were just like, yeah, that's not going to work then, but like maybe next year. And we were like, no, this is like when we're coming to Michigan. So it just didn't work out in that standpoint from Arcadia, but hey, maybe it gives us a reason to come back and film more of Michigan. I know there's some really good private courses up here too that a bunch of people told us to go to. Doesn't really fit the scheme of the series that we're doing where people can go play golf courses, but boy, am I very happy that we went to Forest Dunes and stayed there for 3 days. And then the Bahle Farms, we'll do in a month or so. These videos will come out just like the other travel series with their in-depth. We interviewed a ton of people, every shot. But Michigan's really awesome with the one exception of, and this is the last thing in my notes, of Lurch's driving, which is just
Horrific.
Speaking of which, I got to drive to the airport right now.
Dude, you're really
right.
a bad driver, and it makes me upset.
We're talking about
Be in the
driving a
with
car.
you. We're talking about
Driving a car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These guys have a lot of beefs with it.
Dude, what do you think about it? I think it's outrageous.
T
what
was
he does.
fine.
Yeah, so when we drove from
You're a backseat driver.
yesterday,
Dude,
we drove from.
You have to be with you. We stopped you from getting into crashes 3 times by
No.
Well, we drove from.
I mean, we could just
drove
lie
from
about
Forest
stuff.
Dunes
I
to
mean,
Bahle
different
Farms.
opinions.
exactly what happened. We
Different
had 3
opinion.
other people here.
Yeah, I didn't notice it as much, but what I did notice was while we were driving that almost 2 hours from Forest Dunes to Bahle, Frankie didn't say a word, to the point where I thought that he fell asleep, but he was actually like taking mental notes about how bad Lurch's driving was.
It's not bad driving where he's swerving. He just doesn't keep his eyes on the road. You're an eye contact guy, and we've talked about this on the podcast. You legitimately need to look people in the eye. So when you're driving a car with 5 other human beings in it, and you're going down these 1-lane roads where, like, if someone coming your way just like swerved or something, you wouldn't see it because you're looking at Trent having a conversation, and you're looking at all the houses and the views. Dude, I took a video of him at one point because I thought I was going crazy.
I saw the video. It was.
I haven't seen the video yet.
12-second
Startling.
video, you look at the road for almost 2 seconds. You're down at your phone and you're looking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You look up. You look at Trent. You look at the road. You look at the house. And then it's just like a 12-second video went by. You looked at the road twice. It's something.
I apologize for that if that's the case.
And that's for 2 hours.
The song, the music, or the phone was just for a music change once or twice.
Dude, it's bad.
He is less of a. I wouldn't say the phone is his crutch, because a lot of people do have that where they are like, it's too much.
Yeah, I
where
wasn't
they're
looking at
driving
that
and they're
much.
looking and they're
But I
looking
do-
at GPS, they're checking Twitter. But you are actively engaged with a lot of things that aren't the
You
road.
guys were rustling
Well, so
around
then
with
I would say, like, here comes the view. And I think it was Avery in the back was like, well, that's our view. You actually
Yeah.
need to keep your eyes on the road.
At one point, you guys were rustling around with coffee cakes from Starbucks
Ooh,
or something, and
good.
you're
Those
just going through a green light. Everyone else around us had stopped to a halt because a police officer was burning through a red light with his sirens on, and I screamed, "Stop!" And the police officer legitimately hit his brakes, swerved around us, and kept going. You never would have seen it. That's just death.
No, I saw him.
At one point, pulling
Saw
up
him
to a
late.
light that
So I'm late, yeah.
had a bit of a backup, and you know we're getting closer, and from the back seat, Riggs just goes, "Brake, brake."
Oh, yeah. That was
Break.
weird. I don't know why.
Well,
Because you weren't braking.
I was breaking.
and
I
the
was
cars in
breaking.
front of us were stopped.
Listen,
You're
dude,
all
it
backseat
may sound
driving.
like it's not backseat driving. It's you got to keep your eyes on the road. With
I'm
4
losing
other-
T right now,
When
which
you're 4 or
scares me.
5 other guys in the
And-
car, someone else should just drive. You
I
wanna-
gotta hit the
You're
road
so
here.
stubborn against it. Why don't you like?
Like you want to be in conversation, just don't drive. Like I would have driven and just watched the road.
At
Like,
one point, you
could've
put
just
your
talked
hands
to
at
Trent.
10 and 2, and you looked on the road, and you said, "What am I supposed to drive like this?"
Dude, that was the best part.
That was a funny joke.
And I hope the
That was
listeners
a-
think that, I hope the listeners don't think that we're just being hard on you to be hard on you. You legitimately said, "What am I supposed to just drive like this?" And you actually put
That was a
both-
funny joke.
You put both your hands
Did it
on
make
the
you
wheel
laugh?
and you looked straight, and we said, "Yes."
Did you laugh?
Yeah, because of how preposterous it is. I said
It's
that
good.
word again.
I
All right. I got to go catch a flight.
okay.
But
And
let's
you don't
2
book
more minutes.
flights until the second.
2
before
more
you
minutes.
No,
fucking-
all I was gonna say was that like I never felt like I was gonna die.
Appreciate
you were too
that.
close to it. You
I
were in
know,
front
but
seat.
you're just not as actively involved with the process of driving as most people would like.
Yeah, and I would say that you can't call all this just backseat drivers because I've driven many times. He's driven many times.
Yeah.
And never has it been
Startling.
brought up.
It's startling. And it's like, I just worry about other people making a mistake and you not being aware. I don't think you would ever swerve into a road. You just look at people when you're driving. You
That's
look in the
what
back
your
seat.
biggest thing is that I'm a conversational.
Yes,
Bro, we're having a conversation about like the All-Star game or something, and you're just
No, I
looking
wasn't
at me.
taking part in that
Well,
conversation.
no.
but
I'm
others for
saying
sure.
I'm trying to think of anything we talked about,
Right.
and you look back and you're like, "Oh, you think that?" And
We also, like,
your
we're
head
looking-
is just turned to me.
We're looking for coffee, and you're like leaning your head around windows, looking around. We're like, just watch the road, and we'll look for the coffee.
Trying to solve a guy problem for my guy.
But you
I
know, your
appreciate the
problem is
coffee.
to get us from A to B.
we did it,
drive
and
right
we did
now.
it.
Frankie's
Yeah,
right.
I gotta go.
Frankie's right. You're not swerving
gotta
and going
catch this
crazy.
flight.
Yeah, you're not swerving and going crazy. He's worried about your reaction time to a
I
mistake
don't
that someone
wanna
else
die
might
in
make.
the back seat of a car.
No, and I'm not trying to let you die in the backseat
Okay,
of that
good.
car.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
Right.
Hey, boys, in closing, great trip.
So good.
Dunes was
Fantastic
incredible. Loop, Forest Dunes, and
Bahle
then Bahle
Farms.
Farms, and the people.
So great.
So fantastic.
Hard to find better.
Hard to
really,
find better. Impossible, really.
I don't know that you can.
we came here with honestly minimal to nothing in terms of our plans. Trip couldn't have worked out better because of the people.
I had
That's
low
right.
expectations. because we've been to the best courses in the world.
Right.
No, I know what you
Best
mean.
and all of a sudden you're like, oh, Forest Dunes. You're looking at like, oh, where's that? Middle of nowhere. Bahle Farms. What the hell is that place? I mean, some of my favorite places I've ever been.
I love you all.
Safe travels.
Good
Lurch.
trip.
Love you.
Yeah.
Love you too.
Yep.
Good trip. A lot of fun. And we'll see you on the other side.
Next trip, book your flights when everybody else just does,
Yeah.
please.
Yep.
He books flights like they're Ubers.
Well, here's the thing about this flight.
It's crazy.
5:10 flight out direct to LaGuardia somehow.
Get out
for
of
me.
here. Get out of here. Because I'm
way.
flying. We're not flying direct.
How many seats are available?
There was, I think I got the last one.
Fuck.
Give it a
Didn't
check
tell-
on
how about
American.
you didn't tell these guys that till now?
I mean, what? I was happy I got the flight. It was
You
the
booked it
last
4
one.
hours ago.
Right.
We could have gotten on this flight with you.
No, because I was the last one to get it.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
All right.
Get out of here.
Get out of here, dude. You have.
When I get there, I'll have 45 minutes.
5:10 flight.
TSA pre-check.
5:10
5:10
flight?
flight.
Yeah, but you got to check.
I hope you're not.
You,
I hope you're not booking a bag.
I am, but I'm going into the city tomorrow to pick up, do something for Axon. So I'll just swing by the airport and pick up.
no,
my
they won't
stuff
let
there.
you check.
They're not
in.
gonna let you check a golf bag right now.
See you, boys.
An hour before the flight, they close it.
No, yeah, I
Which is
think
in
it's
10
45
minutes.
minutes. It's 45
Oh,
minutes. No, they won't let you get on. That happened to us in Pebble.
Yeah.
Remember that? That's when we were going to
They
Pebble.
won't let the bag get on.
Yeah, exactly. They'll put it on tomorrow, and then I'll get it tomorrow.
These
Okay.
guys got it all figured out.
Truly hard
Good luck.
seltzer.
Let us know if you make it.
Good luck, Lurch.
See ya.
Hope you make it. Rooting for you.
That's tight.
At this point, we all know the classic is back, and that means Truly is back. Look, we drank. I don't need a.
We don't
Add
need to put a
copy.
number on it.
We know Trulies. You know.
We don't need to put a number.
No
on
need
either.
to put a number on any of that.
No. But I also don't need to read the ad copy.
No.
Oh, yeah, right,
People
for
know what
Truly.
Trulies are at this point. They know that we like Trulies. It's as simple as that. It's
I'll
just
t-
a thing that just exists in our world.
And we were just talking about the people of Forest Dunes, and every time that we started one of those rounds this past week, they put a bag of ice full
The
of Trulies
biggest bag of
Huge.
ice.
in our cart, and I had no real intention of like drinking. We're out there filming, but I was like, well, there's Truly right there, Trent. Like, I have to drink a couple Trulies.
Have to.
And boy, they are just delicious. Every flavor I pulled out of there was great. They had 16. Who knows how many flavors now? They keep coming out with new stuff, but they've got the punch flavors. They got the lemonade flavors. They got all the originals. The blueberry acai was one of my favorites this week. They're so refreshing. It was 75, 80 degrees a lot of these days out there. You might get a little hot. Boom, you get a little refreshing Truly. We had them on the beach last night.
Yep. Refreshing, tasty, just good mindset. It's a good mindset drink. Like you're just in a good. You feel like you're relaxing when you're drinking.
You are. You know you're in a good, relaxed state.
Yeah.
Or that it's going to at least help you get there when
Like
you're
you're not drinking a
Truly.
Truly when you're like doing taxes. You're drinking a Truly when you're golfing.
That's right.
You're playing. What was the game called?
Sinkhole.
Sinkhole. That's what we had Trulies. You're doing stuff like that, and that's fun.
Super fun. We had a great time with it. So big thanks to Truly Hard Seltzer. They're the title sponsor of the Barstool Classic, which when you people are listening to this today, you can't really say you people. When you listeners.
people.
When
I
you
just watched
listeners.
Tropic Thunder the other day. It was pretty funny.
When you listeners are
Great
listening
movie.
to
Great
this show,
movie.
really good movie. We'll be doing the Barstool Classic Monday in St. Louis at Lake Fore. So that's tomorrow as I'm speaking right now, but you might be listening on Monday. So you'll see everybody's having a bunch of Trulies, having a good time enjoying the summertime. Whether you're on a boat, you might be on a beach, you might be at a bar, golf course, wherever. Truly's the perfect drink. 100 calories, 5% ABV. They're great. They're really good. So big thanks to Truly. All right, gentlemen. What a week.
That's
Fun week. A really fun week.
Yawned.
Yeah, we're going to head to the airport here pretty soon, but just shout out to Northern Michigan.
Northern Michigan, man. A special place in my heart. Instantly.
Won't be the last time I'm here.
No chance.
It's just if you're from here, you got a nice little piece of property out here.
And if you're
you
not
know?
from here, come check it out.
My boy Luke from Rockville Links
Yeah.
hit me up. He's from Michigan. He goes and he saw my picture and he just goes, the motherland. He saw our picture from last night. And he's like, that is America right there. That's what I know. That's my home. And like that kind of made me feel something. Like looking out at that lake, knowing that people just live here.
But that's
What a-
his, like, that took him back to
Like
his
when I
home.
see the pencil at Jones Beach, I'm like, oh, the motherland. On Long Island. It's like this pencil. It's like it looks like a pencil.
That was like, though, him seeing the Coliseum. or,
Yeah,
like,
which has like meaning, but it's just not beauty.
No, it's grinding.
This is fucking beauty.
it's I guess I almost just said this now thinking about it. It's just very pure out here.
Pure Michigan.
Like, I know that's the thing, but it is pure out here.
It is.
It's
I don't think you were
fresh.
hard enough on Lurch about the driving.
You know,
You could, if you're not
'Cause I think
harder,
you've
you're going to
now
be
let-
complicit.
I think you've
in-
now let people think that we're being
no,
hard
no,
on them
no.
to just be hard on them.
Your criticisms are valid.
Thank you.
I I want that to be clear.
Thank you.
I wanted to give a little support just because I never felt super in danger, but I know that it grinds your guys' gears when he's looking around and talking to me. And like I said, your guys' criticisms are extremely valid.
Frankie's got the best point of them all, which is that I might think you, Lurch, are the best driver in the world, but if you're not looking at the road and some other moron, think about all the idiots. Think about when you're in a Walmart or when you're in line to get on a plane, how many idiots are out there in the world. And now they're just behind a machine going 70
It's crazy.
right at you. And like if they just make a little
alert.
mistake and you can't just be on alert and like readjust, that could be the difference.
Yep.
And he's just not paying attention.
No. Classic case of talking about his back again. I had to bring it up. I just had to bring it up just because I know it's crazy. The guy needs help.
We just can't let him drive.
No, I can't let him.
Yeah, I drive most of the time anyway.
Where's the next trip that we're going to?
Bandon Dunes, Oregon.
That's going to be fun.
That's going to be fun.
So we've got Northern Trust at Liberty National coming up.
We'll be out at Northern Trust. So if folks don't know this, we'll be at Liberty National pretty much the entire week. Definitely Monday through Friday. We'll be doing a couple live podcasts. We're going to be trying to interview players. And then there's a couple different areas where we're going to be hanging out. I mean, it's going to be really fun to have fans back in the New York area.
Especially at that place.
At Liberty, which we love. We were out there a couple weeks ago, and it's stunning. It's got some of the best views in New York Harbor. You're right on it. And so, yeah, folks should get their tickets and come out because we're going to be playing. We're going to be enjoying it the whole week. The Northern Trust at Liberty National. So that'll be kind of one of our main next events. Mm-hmm. And then a few weeks after that, or the following month, we're going to be at Bandon Dunes.
Very cool.
Hell of a stretch of golf. I'm excited for Bandon. That's I got left out of that Bandon trip a couple years ago, so I'm excited to see it. There's that one golf course that has no bunkers.
Sheep's Ranch.
Yep.
Getting a lot of tweets about that place.
I'm sure you are.
Because I'm now on a crusade where I want to abolish bunkers and get them off every golf course. I'm going to try to work on that, maybe get some legislation in place. But Sheep's Ranch apparently has no bunkers already, so that sounds like heaven to me.
Breaking 100 coming out on Thursday?
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
At the Village Club of Sands Point.
Yep.
And boy, should you mark your calendars for this one.
Ooh,
yeah,
buddy.
Boy, should you mark your calendars for this Breaking 100 episode.
You
just
really
saying
should.
that right now. It's Sunday. The Open just ended. Collin Morikawa is the Open champion golfer of the year. I'm letting you know to watch Breaking 100 on Thursday.
Yep. Couldn't agree
That's
more.
all I got.
All right.
Congratulations to Collin.
Congratulations, Colin. We'll be back on Thursday. We're gonna have a few of the segments that we came up with. We're gonna do a few of those and just I don't know, do what we always do.
How long was this podcast?
Hour 37.
There you go.
Didn't get it again.
We didn't get it again.
Speaking of
The
segments,
90.
we came up with the 90th minute.
90th minute at 9 or whatever. What is it called?
I don't remember.
90th. It was originally 9th green at 9.
9th grade at 9.
We were gonna do every the 9th minute mark. We get just a random soundbite from Happy Gilmore, and then we settled on the 90th minute. Like when we go long, 90th minute, and then we've just never been hit with
I think
one.
we're 0 for 4.
I think so.
Shooter McGavin's supposed to come at the 90th minute. There's
Of every single podcast that we do. Cool segment idea I came up with that we kind of workshopped in there, and we just never done it.
One of these days.
Yeah, one of these days we'll get it. We'll get it.
We'll get there.
We will. We'll be back on Thursday. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.